Question 2 is coming from transformations of functions. The curve y is equal to x squared is transformed to this curve here. Okay. Describe fully a sequence of transformations that have been combined, making clear the order. This is very important, making clear the order in which the transformations have been made. Okay. Now, here are two ways we can do this. First, I can say the first one here, I look at x, something has been done on the x here. It is a subtraction. So if it's a subtraction, remember when it comes out, the transformation is a negative. I've always shown this one here, that if, let's say you have y is equal to x squared, okay, that is the U-shaped curve we are having here. But then I transform this and I say y is equal to let's say this x squared, okay, then we say let's say minus 2, okay, and then we square that. So you see that it has moved to the right by 2 units, yet inside here we are seeing a minus 2 here. So this simply implies that based on what I'm having here, since it has moved to the right, using translations, this will be the translation vector 2, 0, because it has moved to the right. So meaning this number, when it is coming out of this in the function, it comes here and then changes the sign. You see that? Now suppose we put, let's say plus, suppose I put plus 2 here. What shall we get? Plus 2. Now, do you see that it moves to the left, and therefore the translation vector is going to be negative 2, 0. You see that because it has moved to the left, and this way x is a negative. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so that is that. Now, when we go back here, this one is a minus. So that means I'll have a translation by vector. So I'm beginning with that x there. Translation by vector 3, 0. Because I'm popping this one out. So when I pop it out, it changes the sign. Okay. Now that means we are going to have our y1, which is equal to x minus 3, okay, squared. You see that? Then the next one, I can stretch this because stretching is to do with multiplication. So stretch by factor 4 parallel to y-axis, because the function has been multiplied, right? So maybe y2 is going to be now the 4, then times x minus 3, okay, squared. So when we go back, let's say here, and I put this one, let me just take this one away, and we say y, which is equal to, we have that, let's say 2, then x squared. So this green graph here that we have gotten, you can easily see that the x coordinates have remained the same. For the same x coordinate here, which is 1, the y coordinate is 2. You see that? So y coordinate here was 1, but then now for the same x coordinate, y coordinate is here 2. Then if x is 2, first of all, y was what? 4. You see that? Now for the same x coordinate, you will find your y at 8. Okay? You find the y at 8. So let's check. It is here, the y at 8. You see that? Okay. So meaning it is the y coordinate that changes because you are getting a factor and you are multiplying through the function. And the function represents the values of y you have gotten after substituting x. You see that? Then after that, we can translate this one. I can put the minus 8. So that will be then a translation by vector. Nothing done on the x, but then we are moving downwards 8 units. Okay, so we have your y3 now becomes this 4 into x, minus 3 squared, then minus the 8. Okay, so the curve moves down, you see that? 8 units. Now, suppose you had said, because you have seen a -3 here and then this one here, then you first begin and say translation, okay, by vector 3, then -8. That means your y1 here is going to be, let's say that is x -3 here, then yes, squared, then -8. That's what it means from here, okay, if you had that. So that is what you will be having. Now, next you go to the stretch. So if you say stretch by factor 3, then parallel to y-axis, parallel to, yes, y-axis, the factor here, since we are seeing a 4, that one is supposed to be a 4. So let me change this one to a 4. That means here you are going to have 4 into everything here. You see that? So you have to put this one here minus that. But when you open the brackets, do you get the same thing as this? Of course not. So that means that would be wrong. You see? So that's why they were saying, making clear the order. However, you would do this one this way also. Alternatively, if you want to do the translations first, you can do it, okay? So alternatively, I can write this y, I factorize out to the 4, because the 4 is in 8 and the 4 here, right? So I can write it as 4, then into x -3, then squared, then we have a -2, okay? That means I can begin by saying translation by vector, translation by vector 3, 0, okay, here. Then the next one will be translation by vector then 0, -2. Now you do this one here, and then lastly you stretch. So then you would say stretch by factor 4 parallel to y-axis. Or instead of writing these two, you can actually say, you can put it as one translation by vector 3, -2, all of it together, okay, this one, and then you have this one here as the next one. So that is that one is also correct. So if you factorize out to the 4, then you do this one here, and then after you stretch. So whichever way, you get the two answers correct.